Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel, y'all. This is going to be what men actually want in bed. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today, and I'm so excited to have you here. The chat is already blowing up. Give me a 1. Let me know you're excited to be here in the chat. My name is Matt Shaffer, and I am a transformational speaker and coach for women. I coach women around empowerment, connection, and relationship. I left my work as a lawyer and stepped full-blown into personal development, and I'm absolutely passionate about helping women create more fulfilling, meaningful connections with men. Okay, so that is the sole focus of my life, and I do it through coaching. I do it through my YouTube channel. I do it through my online courses. We got lots of people here from my online courses, so say hi. Let me know that you're here. You're excited to get going, and if you're new to my channel, take a second, hit that little subscribe button, and if you haven't signed up yet for my course, we are in week 3 of Mastery of Connection. It's an amazing, transformational relationship course. It's going to help you create more fulfilling, more meaningful connections with men. And people are I changed my shirt. Yes, I did. So I just was on office hours with my group, and we had breakthroughs, we had tears, we had all sorts of beautiful experiences happening for women in the group. I absolutely love this work that I do. So we have 2 weeks left in Mastery of Connection. We're in week 3, and then we have a 4th week. So it's not too late to be a part of this course, and it is free for you as a member of my community. So go ahead and go to masteryofconnection.com, sign up, join the party. It is going to be a blast. And to everybody who's joined us, we got Mint Richie, Miss Lenore Regal, #1 super fan. Love it, love it. Miss Elena's here. Welcome, y'all. And so we're going to dive into this. I want to share with y'all, and I want you to ask your questions as we go, right? So what are questions you have around what men actually want in bed? I want this to be a conversation. I, of course, have plenty of content and plenty of stuff to say on this, but feel free to chime in with whatever questions you have. Maybe you've had some confusing experiences, right, with men that you're, dating or in a relationship with. And Elena says that Mastery of Connection is a really empowering program, and Matt is the best, such a supportive, open, and generous coach. Thank you so much, my dear. I deeply appreciate that. Isn't she sweet? Yeah, I mean, I give everything to my clients and to my students and to everyone that I am in connection with. So thank you so much. That really means a lot to me, my dear. And so let's talk a little bit about this, right? What do men actually want in bed? So go ahead, chime in the comments. What do you think men want in bed? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what women think men actually want in bed, because I know a lot of it might be physical stuff, right? It might be moves. It might be specific things. I'm not saying that there aren't, ways to touch a man and ways to connect with a man and ways to kiss a man, because truly, I teach that. I teach a lot of that, and some of my most popular videos are all based around that, which is why I wanted to speak into this topic, right? But I wanted to take it a layer deeper, because all the tips and all the tactics I've been giving around connecting with men physically, around how to touch them and how to kiss them, they all come down to some basic emotional and energetic needs that men have with sex. Okay, so there are deeper things that men need to feel, that men need to experience in order to have the sort of physical connection that they want, right? So let's dig into that. And to everybody who's joining, what's up? Welcome. Thank you for joining me here on the YouTube channel. Take a second, say hi. Let me know what your questions are around what men actually want here in sex. Chantal says BJ's and male dominance. Chantal, I feel your frustration there, and I understand, that we have experiences that can make us kind of frustrated and jaded about men and about the physical connections that we have with them. But let me start off with one foundational principle that men need. All right, I'm going to post it up here. Okay, this is what men actually want in bed, something that they want. Okay, men want to feel safe. Why do you think men would want to feel safe, and how do you think we can give it to them? Okay, one of the ways that we can. So why does a man need to feel safe? A man needs to feel safe in bed with a woman, in physical connection with a woman, because two men who are operating from a healthy space, right? And again, I am speaking for men who are not operating from a deeply wounded space, because if men are operating from a deeply wounded space, a lot of times sex is a commodity. A lot of times sex is a tool for dominance. You know, sex can be used as a weapon, you know, for men who are operating from a deeply wounded space. And so step one is, don't date or sleep with men who are operating from a deeply wounded space. Okay. So we don't want to sleep with men who use sex as a weapon, who use sex as a control mechanism, or men to whom, so when we're talking about healthy men who are operating from a healthy space, you know, men want to feel safe, because sex is a primary way that we express emotion to our partner. Sex is one of the most vulnerable, and physical intimacy is one of the most vulnerable ways that we communicate emotionally to our partner. A lot of times for men, it's very tough to speak physically, to speak through our mouths, through our words, how we feel about a woman. But through the way that we touch her, through the way that we caress her, through the way that we make love to her, for many men, this is the most vulnerable and deep expression of love and connection and intimacy that we can have. Like, I'm getting like emotional just talking about it, right? Because, you know, and I am good with words, right? But even in my own life, right? The sex and physical connection creates a sort of deep emotional vulnerability that is hard to track. So yeah, people are asking, how do you make them feel safe? Okay, so think about this. Like, if you want a man to feel safe during sex, we've had a lot of great comments that are all accurate. You want him to be able to feel that he can share what it is that he's into. So what does that mean? What does that mean? It means asking him what he likes. It means having powerful conversations, having powerful, vulnerable conversations with him around his needs, around what he craves, around what he desires. Does he have any kinks? You know, does he have any kinks? You know, this is a great question. Okay, this is a great question. You know, do you have any kinks? What are you into? I had one of my clients go through this process with her guy, and we ended up finding out that, you know, he had been buying her shoes, not because he's a fashion aficionado for women's shoes, but that's something he's into. You know what I'm saying? So like, and who knew, right? Who knew? But unless we ask and we start really like being open to it, you know, we're not going to be able to hold space for that. And so part of being safe with this is that we don't, and sharing your own. Yes. Yeah. Sharing your own kinks gives him permission to do the same. Yeah. Yeah. So, and this is a powerful thing. So letting him know what you are into, because so often in relationship, especially when it comes to communication and vulnerability and intimacy, you are the conductor. So you are guiding him and you are leading by example and inviting him to step into deeper intimacy with you. So by sharing your own kinks, sharing your own fantasies, sharing your own desires with him, you're helping him understand that it's safe for him, right? Because what this all comes down to is establishing safety, right? And that's what this is. That's what this is all about. And I'm loving all these questions, and we're gonna get to them. We're gonna dive into as many as we possibly can. So we want to create safety for him sexually, right? So we don't want to shame a man for his kinks, right? If he's into something, or he has an idea about something, or he wants to try something that maybe you're not into, or you're a little intimidated by, or whatever, you know, you never want to reject a man or shame a man for being vulnerable. Because as soon as you reject or shame a man for a vulnerable share, you're disincentivizing him from doing it again. You know, we always want to be making sure. So ask yourself, right? Ask yourself throughout your vulnerable conversations and connections with men around sex and around intimacy, you know, is this establishing safety? Is this establishing safety? That's what we want to be. That's what we want to be focusing on. So before I move on we don't want to ever be creating judgment or rejection in the bedroom. Okay. So Andrea brings up a great question. What if he can't perform? Give me a 1 if you can relate to that. Give me a 1 if that's something that's happened to you in your sexual experiences with men. Now, again, there's a lot of reasons, and we can't obviously get to the bottom of why, every man can't perform. There's a lot of different things that come up for men, physically, but a lot of times, a lack of performance is a man doesn't feel safe. A man feels pressure. A man has emotional issues around intimacy. Okay. And so having a deep conversation, a deep, vulnerable conversation with a man around, what he's experiencing and what might be at the root of his performance issue, instead of taking it personally, because this is so often what women do. And what an issue can be around this is that a woman will take a man's sexual performance or lack thereof as a indicator that he doesn't find her attractive. Can you relate to that? And what I want to challenge and invite you to do, and then you react, you're reactive to that. And then that just reinforces for him the trauma and the embarrassment of what it is that he's experiencing. So if a man is having some sort of like recurring chronic performance issue, instead of taking it personally, that's a man that needs to feel safe more so than even, generally men during sex, because he probably has a lot of embarrassment, a lot of shame, a lot of self-consciousness around that because he's had past experiences around that, right? So asking him, hey, so, I really love being with you physically and I want to be able to explore all aspects of sex with you. And I see that this is coming up, again, and maybe I don't say coming up. That might be the wrong choice of words to use. But be like, I see that, this is a situation that's happened a handful of times and I really want to support you in this. I want to support you in this, what can we do? What can we try? I'm open to trying stuff, right? And let him know that you're in his corner and that, this is all coming from your deep desire to connect with him deeper. You know what I'm saying? And so have a vulnerable conversation with him and let him know that even if a man, even if he doesn't have an orgasm, right? You just enjoy whatever it is that he's able to do, whatever it is that you two share is beautiful. And it's something that you really enjoy and cherish, right? Unconditionality is a huge thing. So unconditionality is powerful. So the sexual act doesn't get to be, conditional, right? And just reassure him, as Lenore says, reassure and reinforce to him that you're here to help him, that you guys are on the same team. Cherie says it beautifully. I would just tell him it's okay. We can try later when he feels like we can do it again. Yeah. So again, take the pressure out of the moment. I love that, Cherie. Take the pressure out of the moment, because a lot of times, like, his situation is happening because it's like a moment of anxiety or fear or whatever. Go do something else. Let him know that you're not taking it personally, and then circle back. You know what I'm saying? And try again. And another way to deal with this sort of thing to really help establish safety in relationship, especially if a man has trauma, if a man has performance issues, and I'm gonna be real with you on this. I'm just going to put it up first before we talk about it. Boom. Okay. Oral sex, as in giving a man, oral sex creates safety for him. Like, I read a meme somewhere that oral sex is a bouquet of flowers to a man. Like, that's like the male equivalent of a bouquet of flowers. You want to talk about a way to like make a man feel safe. And I'm not saying, you need to go full Monty with him, but like all the way to orgasm with him with oral sex. But if you do that, if you're able to just give to him unconditionally with the act of oral sex, it can be a transformative thing for a man, especially if a man has trauma, he has fear, he has anxiety around sexual intimacy. You being willing to just unconditionally share that with him creates safety for him, because it lets him know that the pressure is not just on him to be performing all the time. Like you're able to just enjoy the connection with him. So again, this all comes down to safety, right? So in whatever conversation you're having around sex, in whatever act that you're having around sex, you just want to be checking in with yourself. Is what I'm doing and what I'm connecting and what I'm creating with this man, is it establishing and reinforcing safety within the relational container, within the sexual container, or not? Oh, and Z Kanzi has a great point here. A great question. What if I'm not good at oral sex? Can any of you guys write that? Give me a 1 if you're insecure, or if you have some sort of insecurity about your ability at oral sex. Because this actually brings up another great point, another one of the points that I wanted to address here, okay? Is that, okay. Enjoy. Okay, so this is a key point I want to make here. Way more so than your skills in bed, men are craving that you want to be there, that you're excited to be there, that you want to make them happy. Okay, Elena says the video is a little laggy. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I got this set up with this camera. I mean, it might be a little laggy. Sorry about that. But here's the thing. A man would much rather have an enthusiastic, energetic, passionate blowjob from a woman who's maybe not as experienced than a sort of disinfected, doing it out of a sense of obligation blowjob, but she's amazingly good. It's way less about technique than it is about energy. And this applies to all things in bed. Can you relate to that? Because I'm telling you, from a man's perspective, a man wants to feel that you're excited to be there with him, that you're excited to connect with him sexually, right? He doesn't need you to be a porn star. He doesn't need you to be, a ninja at doing this all over the place. Like what he's craving from you is to feel wanted, to feel desired, okay? And to feel that you really want to do that. Like, so again, release that pressure for yourself that you need to be some pro at it. Although if you watch, I got a couple videos, 6 ways to make him melt with your mouth. Watch that video, take what I say in that video into, that experience, and you'll have both sides of it. You'll have the enthusiasm and the skill set. So D has a really, oh my gosh, I should have known this conversation was gonna get all over the place. So, but can you relate to that? So this doesn't just apply to blowjobs, okay? This applies to all aspects of sex and in sexual conversations. Letting him know that you're present, that you're connected, and that you're excited, and that you want him. Men want to feel desired, so just like you do. You know how you want to feel desired and craved by the man that you're with, or by the man that you're looking to get to know. We want that too, and we have insecurity around sex and everything too. We have insecurity and fear and shame and everything else. So let us know that you like what we're doing, Okay, so Deanna's saying that video helped me a lot, the 6 ways to make a man melt with your mouth. So Lenore's giving a testimonial here. Her man loves the double twist. Double twist, ultimate move. And I'm not going to sit here and describe oral sex techniques on this live. But I invite you to go watch that video and give the double twist a shot. It is a transformational technique. You will love it. Okay, so D has a really interesting question here. Oh my God, you girls are going crazy with this. D says her guy is very loud when he climaxes. I am certain the neighbors can hear it. Is there any way to tell him to simmer down without making him feel unsafe? That's an awesome question. And that question just makes me happy, because I think it's awesome to think about this guy just going like, oh yeah. That's so awesome. Okay. So first off, how awesome is it that he's being vocal and expressive with you? Because I think a lot of men have the opposite issue, right? A lot of women, like their man doesn't communicate what he wants, or that he's enjoying what it is. I think that overall, the more expressive the two of you can be with each other in bed, the more powerful it is. Because here's another important thing. Here's another important thing. Okay. This is what men want. So men need to feel connected. We want to feel connected to you, and we want to feel acknowledged by you. And one of the greatest ways that you can do that is by letting us know when we're doing stuff that's making you feel good. Okay, so, if he's moaning, that's one of his ways of expressing to you that he loves what it is that that he likes what you're doing. She's just cracking me up. It's like he's out in battle. Oh my God, this is absolutely ridiculous. I love it. Okay, so he's a little over the top is what it sounds like. Yeah, the neighbors are wishing it was them. Exactly. That's what somebody's saying. And so how I would manage this is oh my God, Lola's saying he needs to slay that kitty. This is getting really funny. Okay, so long story short, thank him. Let him know how much it turns you on that you're making him feel good and how much you enjoy hearing him come. I mean, that's cool, right? That's good. But be like, you know what? For the sake of our neighbors, maybe we can turn the volume down from like a 10 down to an 8, or a 7. Judging by Matt's impression, D's man is the Kool-Aid guy. Oh yeah. Jesus. This is getting out of control. All right. So, but overall, like embracing vocality in sex is beautiful. Right. And so the more vocal you can be with each other and the more you can let him know through moans, through any kind of vocalization that you're enjoying what he's doing, you're creating safety for him. You're reinforcing to him that he's doing things right. Because men are craving. Lola says she thanks her man after every orgasm. That's beautiful. Men are craving acknowledgement for what they're doing. So this is another big thing. Men want to feel that they're making you happy, acknowledged. Yeah, men want to feel that they're making you happy, that they're being acknowledged for what they're doing. Lenore says, "Tell him let's use our inside voices." I mean, maybe if he's got like a teacher fetish. Maybe if he's got a teacher fetish, that'd be a thing. Oh my God. Men want to feel acknowledged. So if a man's doing things right, let him know. Tell him. For most men, I don't care who you are, a woman dirty talking is a-okay. Like I don't know of a single man who says, wow, this girl wouldn't shut up in bed about how good I was making her feel. No man, no matter how hard of a time he has talking about this stuff, I'm not going to make a total generalization about this, but I've never heard of a man saying, man, my girl wouldn't shut up in bed about how magnificent her experience was. Guys don't say that. Let a man know, oh my God, that feels so good. Oh my God, this and that and the other is really feeling good for me. And also, a side thing about this, men want guidance. We want guidance in bed. This is huge, ladies. Men want guidance. Men want guidance in bed. We want to know, we want to know what you like. We want to know what you want. We want to know where to touch you. We want to know what positions you're into. And some of the greatest ways to guide a man into doing stuff that you like is rather than to tell him what it is that you want, although that's fine, right? Especially in the heat of the moment. Show him, guide him, take his hands, put them where you want, take his hands, move them on you the way that you want, take his head, take his mouth, guide him and invite him and let him know, through your actions where you want them and how you want to be touched and how you want to be, made love to and all this stuff, right? Like, so the more you can guide him through your words, through your actions, through your gestures, through your moans, remember, you're like the conductor of a symphony, and so just like, let him know how much you want that, right? And so I have some people asking, Courtney, I think, is asking here, I want to hear him moan. I want to hear him moan. So what to do if your man isn't vocal, so yeah, like Lenore says here, men do tend to want nonverbal communication. We get off on that. We get off on feeling and experiencing how much you enjoy that. But either way, like it's simple. So we have a question here. What if you don't know how to talk dirty in bed? Oh my gosh. By the way, y'all, if y'all are enjoying this conversation, please take a second, hit that little subscribe button. I'm always uploading new content and you want to be a part of this. And, we're going to talk about dirty talk in just a second. And if you haven't signed up for my course, Mastery of Connection, here's a link to do that. And it's an awesome course, transformational relationship and love course. We got almost over 2,000 women in it right now. It is amazing, and you want to sign up for that. So go to masteryconnection.com after this live, or open it up in another window and sign up for Mastery Connection. It's an incredible experience. We just got off office hours. People are crying, having breakthroughs. It is amazing. So let's go back to dirty talk briefly. Okay, so dirty talk 101. Dirty talk, y'all, is simple. Dirty talk doesn't have to be this chat, y'all in the chat are just, you're out of control, and I love you. I love how ridiculous it's getting in the chat. It's fantastic. I'm trying to say the comments, I'm trying to cherry pick the ones. I'm trying to class it up. I'm doing my best. All right. So, but as far as dirty talk, honestly, it ain't rocket science. You don't need to be Shakespeare. It's basically like, this feels good. It's just letting him know your experience. What are you enjoying and what would you like him to do more of? It's so simple. It's so direct. Like, dirty talk is basically like you just being super direct and vulnerable and clear around, oh my God, that's great. I would love more of this. Do this. This feels so good. Put this here, come here, do this. It's basically like you kind of taking that directness with him. And trust me, from a guy's perspective, men love guidance. They love it being acknowledged for what they do. They love feeling that you are enjoying them. And men, and again, it's kind of like it's a boundary, right? Like, I talk about the importance of positive boundaries, right? I talk about the importance of setting positive boundaries with men, right? Like helping a man understand, how to make you feel better. Like, it would feel good if you would text me more, right? It would feel good if I could get a text from you every day. So basically, take that into the bedroom. It would feel good if you did this. This is turning me on. Sex, dirty talk at the basic level is just being super direct about what it is that you want. Wow, we got over 200 people watching. This is fantastic. Hi, everybody who's joining us live. Take a second, hit the subscribe button. This is epic. I was hoping it would be. Elena says, Matt, you're going to be a sex coach. Oh gosh. Listen, it'll always be a part of my coaching. I can't just go all the way down the rabbit hole and just be a sex coach, but I do feel that sexual intimacy and meaningful, fulfilling sexual connection is a transformative and critical part of being in relationship with man, because fundamental truth here, touch is a primary love language of almost all men. This is absolutely critical. Touch is a primary love language for almost all men. So you want to be good at sex. You want to be good. And by good, I mean open. I mean connected. I mean willing to communicate about it, right? Because a man, in order to express love to you, he is going to be expressing it through touch a lot of times, right? And and encouraging him, right? If you want a man to talk dirty more with you, if you want a man to moan more with you, if you want a man to be more expressive with you, let him know how much you love it. Let him know, sexting, awesome, super hot. I don't know a man who doesn't enjoy some dirty texting. You know what I'm saying? So it's, again, this is not rocket science, y'all. And this is really it's much easier than you think. We love this stuff. And this is another thing men need in bed that I really want to address while we're on this subject. So by the way, guys, ask your questions. I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions here while we get ready to go into the next topic. Okay, so ba-boom, ba-boom. I want to address this one last topic before we get into, and I'm going to be answering your questions here towards the end. So keep putting your questions in the chat. I think we have about 5 million so far, but put your sex questions on what you think men want, because this is a huge one. Is that in bed, men want to play and feel free. Okay, we want to play. All men are at some level little boys, and sex, it is and should be a form of play. It can be a vehicle for freedom. When it comes to the relationship between the masculine and the feminine, men are craving to be set free by the feminine, and sex and physical connection is one of the most profoundly powerful ways that women can set a man free. And it's a way to release and just get out of our heads, get into our bodies, just get away from the heaviness of our lives. You know what I'm saying? Like men are looking to, and it's not about escape in a toxic or immature way. It's a very pure form of safety and of releasing the heaviness of our lives. And for women too, right? Give me a 1, ladies, if it's an important way for you to release the other aspects of your life and really step into your body's sexual connection, right? It's a huge thing. And so what does this mean? What does this mean? It means that, yes, having deep, soulful lovemaking is absolutely welcome, because men want to feel connection. We want to feel supported. We want to feel loved during sex, right? So that is one type of sex that men love, but it is not the only type of sex that men love. Sometimes freedom, sometimes play in bed means that sex doesn't always have to be this deep, profound spiritual experience. Sometimes men just want to have hot sex. They want to have kinky sex. Sometimes men just want to fuck, and that can be with somebody that they love, right? Like that is not I want to destigmatize that term, right? Because it doesn't mean disrespect in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes we just want to just have some great sex. We just want to have a hot throwdown. And we don't want to, have it be a deep, soulful thing. Sometimes freedom and play is light and easy, and it isn't, it isn't got to be, a union of the soul. You know what I'm saying? So when I say play can look a lot of different ways, I mean it, right? So it's really about reading your partner and reading the energy and sort of getting the sense of where they're at, and being able to be flexible and open to different types of sex. Deep, soulful, meaningful, connected sex, and guiding a man into that is super important, but also being open to just playing and doing some kinky stuff and, just fucking is also beautiful too, right? And that can be sometimes for a man who's had a really hard day or a really challenging experience, and he just wants to just play. Kimberly says, Matt, women want to throw down too. Oh, I know, Kimberly. I know women want to throw down. I've been out there. I've experienced it, and it's fantastic, right? And so it's fun to be able to meet your partner where he's at and help him understand that sex doesn't always have to be a production. It doesn't always have to be this crazy, soulful, journey up the mountaintop. Sometimes it can just be listen, let's just throw down and let's just see what happens, right? And have that just be fun, right? So it can go either way. 220 people watching. What's up, guys? Welcome to the sex talk. We're having a good time here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. We have lots of people with questions here. Okay. Let's answer some questions. Put your questions in the chat, ladies. Casey says that sex is one of the only times I can completely sink into feminine energy. Absolutely, Casey. I'm sure a lot of women can relate to you on that. And Let's see. Heather says, I want to know that too, Lola. Okay, so we got a question here from Lola. Do players care about any of this, feeling safe and trust, or they couldn't care less? And so players, let's talk about players, right? Let's talk about players, AKA fuckboys, AKA wounded men, right? So again, at some level, men who are operating from a wounded state, men who are operating from an emotionally disconnected state or an emotionally unevolved state, many of them have commodified sex, meaning they have completely detached emotional and emotionality and emotional connection from the sexual experience. Sex has become a commodity. Sex has become an act of ego validation, similar to making money and similar to a lot of other things, right? So in those times, in those experiences, a lot of times because they don't have any emotional connection to sex, safety and trusting and all of this emotional stuff, they're not there. That isn't something that they care about because that isn't why they do sex. Sex is not an expression of emotion for those men. Sort of like where I started with this whole live was like, the tips, what I'm sharing with you is from the perspective of, having sex with a emotionally connected man, with a man who's coming from a healthy space with you in relationship. If a man is wounded at an emotional level or a physical level, and he's coming from a space where he's treating sex as a commodity, these rules really don't apply to him, because for him, sex is an act that gets him a hit of ego validation. It gives him some sort of, affirmation of his value that he doesn't otherwise feel. And so those same rules don't apply. And he's looking generally like a man who's a fuckboy or a man who's a player he looks at sex as an ROI. It's like an investment. Like he wants to get as much physical gratification as he can with as little investment as humanly possible. You know what I'm saying? So the least he can do to get you in bed, the better, because it's a numbers game for these guys. And so that's why we get to be super conscious of these men and trust our discernment. And, unless we're not looking for that, and again, if you're just looking for a roll in the hay, which no judgment, right? If you're just looking for a roll in the hay, these sort of guys are ideal for you. And I'm not here to judge you, right? So if you're just looking for a one night romp, find a player, find a fuckboy, use protection, have a good time, and, go on with your life, right? But again, that's one type of experience, and don't think that you're going to be able to, get a fuckboy or a player or a wounded man, you're going to heal him. You're going to bring him into emotional connection through the power of physicality, right? Because that's the one way that's going to actually stop them from being able to move forward. So I hope that answered that. Boom. Deanna has a beautiful question here. What is your recommendation on how to communicate a trigger during intimacy so that it leads to deeper connection versus pushing him away? That's a great question, Deanna. So let's talk about, what does a trigger look like during intimacy, right? So a trigger during intimacy it means that a wound that one of you have around physical intimacy got activated by something that your partner did. So maybe he was a little rough with you, and it brought up a trigger, it brought up a wound from when a man was, violated you, right, in the past, or, maybe you have some sexual trauma that gets brought up by him. And so, in that moment, right, when you're triggered, what are you doing? You're experiencing the pain of that past experience in real time, right? You're reliving it in a lot of ways. So it's kind of an altered state of consciousness. So you have two options when you're triggered, right? You have the option to react to the trigger, or you have the option to respond to the trigger, Right. So when we're reacting to a trigger, we're taking the feeling of that trigger, we're taking the pain of that trigger, and we are throwing it. We are just reacting to it, and we're projecting it and throwing it at our partner. So if, say, for example, you were the wound of a past sexual trauma comes up during sex, and then you, from a reactive space, just yell at the guy, push him away, and do that. If you react to your trigger, you're going to then, it's going to then wound him. And it's kind of like passing that wound and passing that pain on down the line. And so what I want to invite you to do instead of that is choosing to respond to that trigger from a conscious place, right? And so when we choose to respond to our triggers, we're basically saying, like, I'm going to choose to communicate this trigger to a man, to this man, in a way that he understands what it's brought up for me. So again, you got to remember that men are constantly, worried about displeasing our partners, right? So like and you especially want to tread lightly when it comes to sexual intimacy. So letting him know, being vulnerable and connecting with him and communicating with him. Hey, so I'm feeling, this actually brought up some pain for me. It brought up some trauma for me. And I want to share that with you, so that we can sort of work through it, because you can create, by having vulnerable conversation with your partner, when you're both in a triggered state, or when you're in a triggered state in physical connection, you can actually facilitate powerful healing with him. You can facilitate powerful healing with him, and same for him. If he's being triggered in sex, if he's shutting down, really asking him, hey, so I feel like something's coming up for you. Let him know. Can we talk about this? I would love to share this with you, because yeah. So Deanna says, my normal reaction is to shut down. Which is again, that can be devastating to a man, right? Because if we look at sex as a form of emotional expression to a man, and he's being vulnerable and he's trying to express himself emotionally to you through the act of sex, and you shut down on him because something he does triggers you, then it's going to create a deep wound for him. It's going to feel like a really deep rejection for him, which is then going to create a wound in him that now he has to deal with, because then he's going to react. Men are going to have a tendency to react to a triggered state in women. It's going to activate some trauma for them, or it's going to create some new trauma. So instead of allowing yourself to shut down when a man is, when you're triggered in a sexual space, I encourage you and I challenge you to stay vulnerable, stay open, and communicate to him what your trigger has come from. Like, what experience, like, hey, just so you know, I have a lot of these kind of feelings coming up for me because when I was younger, because I've got a lot of pain there because of something that happened to me when I was younger. So, I want to work with you through this. And when you're able to be vulnerable with him around that, instead of shutting down, you create the opportunity for the two of you to heal tremendously. Okay, you have the opportunity to heal tremendously within the sexual container, right? The bedroom can be a transformative space of healing for both of you. And I've had partners where, we've cried in bed together many times, and it has been profoundly healing to work through sexual trauma through sex and through bed. So just know that it's very much possible, and it can be a beautiful healing space. So let's answer some more questions. Helena says it's almost 1 a.m. where she is. Wow, I'm glad you're staying up late with us, my dear. So put your questions in the chat. And ladies, if you haven't yet signed up for my course, I'm doing a free course, Mastery of Connection. We are in week 3, and it is an amazing experience. Lots of our students are here on the calls. So sign up, masteryconnection.com. We're in week 3 of 4, and I guarantee you that you will have an incredible experience. We got 2 weeks left. Deanna says the recommendations are great. I'm feeling reassured that I've been going a good route. Okay, great. So just know, when you react from a triggered space, you're deepening the wound for yourself and for him. When you choose to respond, you're creating an opportunity for healing for both of you. So you always want to respond instead of react. Boom. So this is the mantra: respond rather than react when you're triggered. Okay, do that, and you'll be very happy. Okay, so Jitanya asks, how do you get an inexperienced man to please you? Communication, 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 my dear. Communication, like being just super clear in a loving and inviting way about what it is that you like. There is no greater thing. There's no greater thing. Men love guidance. Men love guidance. Men love support, right? Any man who is relatively secure will appreciate the guidance that you're giving him, right? So again, being open to being communicative and being vulnerable with him around what it is that you want. Let him know, right? Let him know. And it will deeply help you. Okay, so Kathy, let's bring on some other questions. Boom. Okay, who's got a good question for us? This is an interesting one. Why do men tell you about their sexual experience with other women? It could be a lot of reasons. You can't really pin that down to one specific thing. One of the reasons might be that he's trying to, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he's trying to maybe create value in your eyes in a misguided way by letting you know that he's done these things and that he's experienced. That's me giving him the benefit of the doubt. That strikes me as a more toxic masculine behavior and kind of an emotionally immature thing. So, like a man might be doing that to like make you feel insecure. You know what I'm saying? Like that strikes me as kind of a more calculated and strategic thing to sort of like leverage himself above you or to make you feel insecure. So that would be my initial read on what that's about, right? Okay, so I hope that helped you there. Courtney asks, how do you allude into wanting more intimacy during sex? I love the fun stuff, but it's more of a mental connection I want. The first time he made love to me, I can't stop comparing that time. It was the best. Well, Courtney, first off, let's start with what made that first time so special. What were the aspects of the experience that made it so special? Was it the way that he talked to you? Was it the way that he touched you? Was it the way that he, what was it about that experience that made it so much different from other times that you two have been together? And I would just invite you to really like connect with that, and then communicate with him vulnerably about that. You know what I'm saying? Like communicate with him vulnerably around what it is that you loved, how it made you feel that first time that you guys were together, that first time that you made love. I know one thing that's super powerful that I think is underappreciated to foster intimacy in sex is eye contact. Give me one if you can relate to that. Eye contact is a sustained eye contact with your partner during all aspects of physical connection and just connection in general can be a profoundly connected, intimate feeling, right? Between us and our partners, right? So the more you can guide a man into deep, meaningful eye contact with you is going to really be transformative for him, right? And for you. So that's something I would say, and it can be as simple as doing it like starting off, initiating it like maybe while you're giving him oral sex, right? Anything like that, like or while you're kissing him, while you're engaged in foreplay with him, like inviting him to make eye contact with you, right? That's super powerful and super, super hot, and then taking it further into sex and different sexual acts. That can be a way to create deeper intimacy and deeper connection with him. So I hope that resonated with you. I know that that's something that I think is a transformative part of deeper connected sex. And yes, the eye contact, the touch. It was like he was so focused on me and we were connected. He took his time. And yes, the eye contact. So there you go. So these are all things that, again, like having like a vulnerable conversation with him around it. And you could do that, prior to sex when you two are having like a warm, committed, loving, exchange with each other, right? And not even telling him that what he's doing now isn't working as much for you. But I think that more importantly, you just want to be able to communicate with him how much you loved that first time. Let him know, oh my God, the first time we had sex was so transformative. It was so profound. I enjoyed so much, so many aspects of it. And then, let him ask, oh, well, what was it about that first time that was so special? And then you can sort of go into it, right? And then being like, instead of being like, why don't you ever, do what you did back in the day? Like, you don't want to be like that, like heavy, like, you never touch me anymore kind of force in connection with him. Like the more you can inspire and invite him to sort of like revisit that connection that first time, it would be super, I think it would really support you. Right. Okay. So, I'm getting so many questions about about performance issues with men. I just got to tell you that like there are definitely like medical reasons why men aren't able to perform, and there's obviously treatments and stuff you can do to support that. But for a lot of men, it's pain. For a lot of men, the reason that they can't perform has nothing to do with their attractiveness or not attractiveness to you. I mean, of course, sometimes it can be, but much more often, I think a lot of the reason why men aren't always able to perform is because of pain, shame, trauma, anxiety that they have around physical intimacy. This is a thing, because remember, if we start from a basic understanding that sex is a primary form of emotional communication from men, and if men have experienced rejection, if men have experienced trauma, if men have experienced pain around physical intimacy, that creates an emotional wound for a lot of men, right? And so that emotional wound then will come up during the act of sex and can create a lot of issues around that, right? So again, the more loving and the more inviting and the more safe you can make a man feel, the best chance you have to help him overcome that. And if it is another thing, like he has a medical issue, support him and go into the doctor and let him know that, you want to be in his corner on that, right? And if it's an attraction thing, spice it up. Ask him about his kinks. Maybe you don't know that he's into cosplay. I mean, who knows what he's into, right? Maybe there's a way that you can sort of like interrupt whatever pattern that's happening that's led to, the attraction starting to go away in the relationship. Question, do men feel insecure if they can't make us orgasm? They can. I mean, definitely if a man is deeply invested in you emotionally, he's going to put a lot of pressure on himself a lot of times to make you feel good, to want to inspire you to feel good in the connection with him. And so if a man consistently can't make you come, yeah, that could be something that could make him feel insecure. But again, like, I want to turn it back on you and ask you, how were you supporting him, Mathabo? Were you supporting him in helping you, right? Like, because the more guidance you can give, and the more support you can give a man, the better, the better opportunity you're going to have to make you feel good, right? And you want to do that you want to do that, and you want to do that consistently and supportively, if that makes sense. Winchester Girl says, Matt, your voices are killing me. Oh yeah, I got a million voices. I did the Kool-Aid voice. I did the Jewish grandmother voice. Lenore doesn't like my my Long Island granny accent. It's one of my favorites, Lenore. I'm never gonna stop. You guys are getting to see the other side of me. That's maybe not quite as polished as my other YouTubes, but I think this is fun. Give me a 1 if you think it's fun to just get kind of ridiculous in these situations. So, but Heather, actually, I didn't even answer your questions. I didn't even answer your question. Just because a man has ED does not mean that he doesn't desire you. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have sexual desire, right? Like, men desire and crave, straight men desire and crave and lust after women. Women are always a deeply inviting and evocative force in our lives, So just because a man is having issues does not necessarily have any connection or correlation to his desire. Lola has a great point here. There may be fear and there may be pain there. So again, yeah, those are all great points. So let me see if I can squeeze in a couple more questions here before I go. Nasima asks, what are the things that men crave in bed? Nasima, I covered all this, but I'll do a brief recap just to like circle through. Men want to feel safe. Right? We want to feel safe. We want to feel safe to express what we're into, and we want to feel safe to explore and experiment with you. We want to feel safe to be vulnerable with you, because sex is a form of emotional expression to women. And so like it's your imperative, right? And it's a really powerful thing you can do to be a warm, inviting, safe space for us to be vulnerable with you through sex, because it's a primary way that we connect and communicate emotionally with women. Men also want to feel connected during sex. So we want to feel that, and we want to feel like you want to be there. So for women, a lot of women feel self-conscious about knowing all the different ways to please a man. It's much less about knowing all the ninja tactics than it is just simply to be enthusiastic, to demonstrate to him through your moans, through your energy, and through the way that you show up that you want to be there, right? So just continue to ask yourself, am I being inviting? Am I making him feel safe, right? Am I communicating to him what he wants? Men want guidance. So are you guiding a man into letting him know what you want? Are you letting him know through your actions? Are you demonstrating to him by putting his hands where you want, how you want him to touch you? You know what I'm saying? Like, guide a man, throw a guy a bone. We appreciate it, I guarantee you. And another important thing men want to play and feel free during sex. And that can look a lot of different ways. Sometimes, yes, freedom is created in the deep, soulful, powerful, profound experience of making love. That can be really, really hot and powerful and expansive. And one of the greatest things you can do as a woman is to invite and inspire a man to step into that. But sometimes, and I'm going to use a grown-up word here with you, sometimes men just want to fuck. And it's not disrespectful. Sometimes men just want to throw down and have fun, kinky, light, playful, whatever sex. Okay. And so being able to have a spectrum of sex with a man and use sex as a medium for y'all to play and to experience each other and to support each other is really powerful. Okay. So those are just some basic things that men want that I just wanted to touch on in this whole thing. Okay. So I want to answer maybe one more. Wow. Jillian, I don't know about this feedback. My Long Island granny sounds like Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty. We're going on an adventure, Morty. I guess, yeah, actually it kind of does. Damn. I'm going to have to juice it up a little bit. Why don't you ever call your grandmother anymore? Is that better? Okay. Focus. All right. Bagheera has an interesting question. Oh, or the lady from Monsters Inc. I'll take that one. I like that one. The lady from Monsters Inc. She's a classic. That's a classic version of that voice. Bagheera asks, how do you get a man who always only thinks of his pleasure and never tries to please the women to focus on the women? I love how you're speaking about women collectively. Would this fall under guidance? What if he doesn't care? Well, that means, Bagheera, I mean, if you are making first off, are you one of many women that this guy is sleeping with, right? Because chances are, if he's sleeping with a lot of women collectively and he, in spite of guidance, in spite of being specifically communicated to what you want and what you need to be happy, right, and fulfilled in bed, if he consciously doesn't care about that, chances are you're dealing with a man who's more on the wounded masculine end of the spectrum, a man who is a player, a man who is a fuckboy, a man who is some variant of wounded masculine where he has emotionally disconnected from the act of sex, and sex has become a commodity for him. Sex has become an act of emotional validation. Right? Sex has become a tool that he uses to feel better about himself, because at some level he doesn't feel good about who he is. He doesn't feel good about himself, right? So, you get to watch out for these sort of men, because unless you're just looking for a low commitment roll in the hay, these sort of guys are not going to give you. Bagheera, are you trolling me? She says Are you a guy? Bagheera says, I'm asking for my mom. I want her to be happy in bed too. I suspect you're trolling me, Bagheera. I don't appreciate it, but I still gave you value anyway. Jillian says, I love Rick and Morty. Sorry for the confusion. It's all good. We all love Rick and Morty. And I didn't take it as an insult at all. I appreciate it very much. So again, like when it all comes down to this, I hope that y'all can connect with what it is that I've shared today. And I hope y'all have gotten some value out of this. Let me know. Because I am committed to doing a live with you every week on Thursday or Friday. So I will be coming in and doing different lives on different aspects of relationship with man every week. So be sure to tune in every Wednesday or Thursday on that. But guys, if you're new to my channel, take a second, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to click the little bell. I'm always uploading new stuff. And if you're not part of my free course, Mastery of Connection, we're in week 3. It's an incredible transformative experience around love and relationships and transforming your connections with men from the inside out. And we got about 2,000 women in there that are just having a blast right now. We'd love to have you as a part of the course. And so everybody who's been watching, still got over 176 people watching live. Thank you for being a part of this experience. It's been super fun. This is all about what men actually want in bed. I hope that you had some aha moments, and I will see you next week on YouTube Live. Have a great night, ladies. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.